morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. We are still going for the candidate tailgate. This is one of the most exciting interviews of all for me because you are running for Judicial Circuit Court Judge. That's big. Y'all join me. I am Jennifer Yon Kennedy, IBA Success Magazine, and of course, this tailgate interview is sponsored by Southern Style Barbecue, the corner of 4890 Edgewater Drive in Orlando. Y'all make sure y'all check them out. I'm sitting down with, I'm going to say my friend.
Yes.
I'm going to say a friend because, listen,
At
I
this
have
point.
seen and we've been around each other for several years.
Mm-hmm.
Introduced by another business person. And from then on, I have been of great support of you,
Yes.
and you have been of amazing support for me.
Yes.
So, you all, if you do not know who's sitting here, Kamilah Perry is running for the Ninth Judicial Circuit Court Judge, Group 31, serving Orange and Osceola counties. You have an extensive legal background. Your biography says you've earned a law degree and an MBA with honors from Stetson and have about 23 years of legal experience, including business litigation, employment, insurance, white collar criminal defense, and other complex matters.
Yes.
Does that sum you up?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So, if you were to finish the sentence, who is Kamilah Perry? What would you say?
Oh, wow. You starting off the question with a good question. Who is Kamilah Perry? I am probably best described as a servant at this point. I think that I grew up in a family of servants. My father was a judge. He served on the Florida Supreme Court. My mother was the mayor of the city of Longwood. She was a county commissioner. A city commissioner. And they always told me that if my law degree is not being used to help people, then it's useless. So everything I've done has kind of been to advance the legal profession and help people who can't help themselves.
So you've spent more than 2 decades practicing law. What experience during those years convinced you that okay, now the bench is for me?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a really great journey. Because I started off my career as a corporate lawyer representing like Fortune 500 companies. So I learned how to be a good litigator. I learned how to go to court, how to be persuasive, how to make sure my research is correct, how to make sure that people trust me and that I'm credible, and that my research is tight. And then I was able to go out on my own and open up my own law practice. And with that, I was able to now choose my clients. I was representing individuals, nonprofits, small businesses. I was helping people stay out of trouble.
Right.
I was able to, that's where I kind of really honed in on um, defending or protecting people more so than representing the corporate interest. Because I started my career kind of representing the establishment. And in private practice, now I'm able to protect people from the wrongs of the establishment. So now I've been able to do both sides of the law. And then most recently, being the general counsel for the state attorney's office, that has completely just opened my eyes to so much more because now we're talking about government work. We're talking about indigent people who need their rights protected, and we're talking about their freedom.
Yes.
Now, before I was just dealing with people's money. You know that money comes and goes, but your freedom, you can't mess around with that.
Yes.
So you have to dot every I and cross every T. And in my job as a general counsel, I'm responsible for 385 employees and $37 million budget for that office to make sure that criminal justice is pursued in our community. So it's a huge responsibility. So I think all of those things together really have put me in a position where I know that I can serve on the bench as a thorough and really effective judge.
So understanding both law and business, it shaped you to analyze complicated problems. Is there any particular instances that shape you more than others?
Instances. You mean like cases that I've had to handle? The cases that have impacted me the most haven't been about business. They've been about people's lives being impacted. And them not having any hope and feeling like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I had one gentleman he was 17 years old, riding in the car with some of his friends, got into some trouble, shot into a dwelling. And he went to jail for, I think, 3 years. Got out, years passed, he struggled, because with a felony, it's very hard to recover from that. But he did it. He went back to school, got his MBA, started youth counseling, and then he became a coach at a school. The school had not done the background check at that point to see that he had a felony record. But then I can't remember the name of the law now. It's on the tip of my tongue. But you have to get a level 2 screening because a young girl, Jennifer Lumford Act, little girl was killed by a janitor who was working on a school property, and he lived in the back. So they made a rule that everyone had to have this screening. So they did the screening, found out that he had a felony, and they fired him. And this is after years of working with kids, years of being effective, and now he can no longer work. And he said, I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to feed my family? And I was like, I don't know what you're going to do either, because Florida's at will, and they can fire whoever they want just because they don't like the color of your shirt that day. But I said, let me just think about this. So I went back. Excuse me, I'm coming out with a cold. Really, right now.
It's okay.
So I did a little research and found out that employers cannot fire you because of your record. They have to do a deep dive into what the record was, what happened, is it impacting your job and your ability to do it, and are you in danger necessarily? So when we did all that analysis, turns out that he wasn't, and he was fired illegally, and they gave him his job back.
Wow.
So those are the kind of things that have impacted me and really showed me you just cannot give up and assume that you're going to have a remedy.
What do you feel about second chances, since we're talking about somebody that act? What do you feel like when a person has did something in the past, and should that affect them long term, or at what line do we say, okay, it's time to move on, and they're not that same person?
It really depends, and I know that's such a legal answer, because there are some people who need to be held accountable, and the things that they have done are so egregious and so dangerous to society that a second chance is difficult to give.
Okay.
And you don't want to risk it because you have other people to consider.
Right.
And there are some people who absolutely would never repeat the kind that they've done. They've learned their lessons. You just have to know the difference. And that's where good judgment comes in.
Right.
And that's when experience comes in and life lessons come in. And that's why good judges, in my mind, are experienced across the board. They've done a lot of different things, and they can tell with to the best of their ability. Nobody has a crystal ball, obviously, but they can make those kind of decisions.
Most people will hopefully never spend much time inside the courtroom.
Right.
It's not where somebody wants to be. It's not Disneyland. Why should the average voter care deeply about who becomes their circuit judge?
Oh, now that is a good question. Okay, I'll give you a good example right now. Recently the legislature met, and over the course of 2 days redistricted the entire state of Florida, changed the landscape of the electorate. That map was challenged by the ACLU and Equal Ground, two nonprofit organizations. They sued the state of Florida, claiming that the changed map took away a lot of voting power in a lot of minority communities. That map went to a circuit court judge. A circuit court judge decided, him only, whether or not that map was constitutional or not. That map impacts the lives and the voting power of thousands and thousands of people. So that's why people should care about who our judges are, because judges impact your family, your freedom, your finances. If they're the last say, they can tear your family apart. They can put your family back together. They can decide how much you have to pay in restitution. That can make you unable to pay your bills for the rest of your life. You need to know who is making decisions about your life.
Yes, and a lot of voters and in the community, they don't know what the circuit judge does.
Right.
And that's why this interview to me was so important, because you see the commissioners, you see the mayors, but who is the circuit judges?
Right.
Okay. What exactly do they do?
What do they do?
That's so important. People often say they want the judge who's fair, but fair can mean so many different things. What does fairness on the bench look like for you?
To me, it looks like a judge who does not have an ego, who is confident enough in themselves that they know that they may make a mistake, and they will overrule themselves. They will say, you know what? I thought about this a little bit more. I was wrong. I need to change that, because I can't impact someone's life and have too much pride to say I was wrong. A lot of people just don't want to admit that they were wrong. And you just have to, figure it out. I don't think that's right. I think a judge has to not be able to sleep at night unless they know they got it right. To me, that's the epitome of what fairness is. It is not allowing your own personal ego to interfere in what is best for people.
That's a great answer. I really like that, because sometimes you have made a decision and you don't want to say, I'm
I
wrong
made a
or I
mistake.
made a mistake.
Yeah.
Because a person may feel like that's a sign of weakness.
Right. And it's not.
And it's not. So one of the biggest complaints people have about the justice system is that money, connections, or status can affect the outcomes. How does a judge protect against real or perceived unequal treatment?
Well, that's why I'm running.
Okay.
Honestly, I really want to rebuild the public's trust in the judiciary because I know, especially right now in these political times, a lot of people are really weary of who this judge is, how did he get on the bench, what they may assume about me. Are they trying to prove a point based on some political things going on outside? Am I going to be an example of?
Right.
So I think that the way I would do it is that I don't appreciate it. Like I respect the law, and I want the public to respect the law. And the only way for the public to respect the law is for the law to be applied equally in every single case. The law and the rules can't change depending on who's playing the game.
Yes.
So that is my goal. And I feel like if I do that, it'll show the public that the judiciary can be fair and balanced. So it's really my job to do it. Like that's my goal. And that's really right. That's the reason I'm running.
Yes.
100%.
I've heard even some of my customers say their court case keeps getting delayed and delayed and delayed. Court delays has, a huge consequence for families, for defendants, for victims, for businesses. What role can a circuit judge play in moving cases more, efficiently without sacrificing due process? Because we know there's a process.
So let me tell you, I just want to say this before I answer that. Part of the problem with the delays is that the judiciary is not funded well by the state. The entire state's judicial system makes up 1% of the state's budget. So the state attorney's office, the judges, the clerk's office, the public defender's office, the regional conflict counsel, all of us get the same pot of money, and it comprises 1% of Florida's entire budget.
Wow.
So it's just not enough money, and that means you don't have enough staff and people to do the work to move the cases along. We've just now gotten 3 additional judicial seats though. That will help. They've added judges to our circuit. The more judges, the more cases they can take on, the faster they can move. So it should help a little bit. So I wanted to say part of the problem is funding.
Okay.
But in terms of my, and I hate to say my courtroom, our courtroom, the community's courtroom that I would preside over, my goal would be to make sure that I am keeping track of and it depends, civil and criminal also. Okay. So say I get on the civil bench, I want to make sure that when the lawyers come before me and they say, Judge, I need a continuance, I'm like, well, didn't we already have a continuance before? What's going on? Let's make sure this is not an intentional delay, or if it's a real delay, because it's something that you really cannot control. And at some point, you have to hold people accountable and say, you cannot delay this any further. We have to move on. This is what you have. Let's go. So that's how I would help move things along. I would make sure that my orders are in very quickly, because if the judge takes a long time to sign an order, that holds up people's lives forever. So I would endeavor to make that happen quickly. There are a lot of little things that can be done, and I think that because I've been the general counsel for the state attorney's office, I have to juggle a lot. I put out a lot of fires. So my natural inclination is to let's go. Let's get it done. Yeah.
Temperament is another huge area for a judge. How do you remain compassionate toward people standing before you, and but still make them accountable?
So I really think it's kind of like how we were taught in kindergarten. Just don't be mean to people.
Don't be mean.
Yeah. There's a way you can be direct and stern and let people know that you're serious without belittling them and being condescending and making people become defensive. Because once people become defensive, then they stop being reasonable, and now they're fighting a battle that really has nothing to do with the case. They just don't like that they weren't heard. Right. So knowing that, that is how I would deal with everybody. I would just listen. I would be calm and compassionate, and just make sure everyone feels like, okay, she heard me. And if they don't like my decision, they'll understand why. It won't be because she just, judge, she wasn't listening to me, she don't care. It'll be, okay, I didn't like what she did, but I understand what she's saying. Yes. So that would be my goal.
Tell me about a time professionally when you had to make a difficult decision that you knew would not make everybody happy.
Oh my goodness. Every day.
You already knew it was not. When you say what you're gonna say, everybody gonna side eye you.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Man, I have to do it every day because I am kind of like the Grim Reaper for my office. Like, I'm the rule enforcer. I have to tell people when they're not going to be able to get a raise. I have to tell people that they're going to be fired. I have to tell people that they're not entitled to a payout. Like, I give bad news all day. That's part of my job. I've found a way to kind of deal with it because I don't like it. I don't love it, but I know that it's necessary, and you're not doing anybody any favors by not being honest with them and telling them the truth.
Yes.
So I just kind of remind myself of that. This is not your fault. You haven't done anything. This is a result of someone's actions, and they have to know what happened and tell them the truth.
Is there something in the current the system that you feel like you want to go in and change or fix?
Of the judicial system?
Yes.
You know, I will say I practiced a long time in a lot of circuits. The Ninth Circuit is pretty good.
Okay.
There have been a lot of changes from the Supreme Court. They recently required case management statuses that wasn't required before, and it really requires the parties to have deadlines to make sure that they're ready. It kind of models the federal system, where you have to really be on task, and the case is not going to drag on for years and years and years. So I like that. So what would I change? I think I would probably, if I were in the criminal division, I would add some diversion programs to help parts of the community that are not recognized as victims.
Okay.
Like, for instance, we may have this already, but like victims of human trafficking, sometimes they get arrested for prostitution. When the truth is, they're being trafficked.
Right.
And they are not going to speak out against the person that's trafficking them, and then they go to jail for prostitution, and they get all these charges built up, and they have a record. So I think a diversion program that would recognize that they're really victims, get them some help, figure out a way to get them out of this cycle, and help us identify the traffickers so that we can stop the trafficking.
Right.
Things like that. I think I would want to help.
Yeah, that definitely takes compassion and discernment.
Yeah.
How would you rate your level of compassion and discernment on a 1 to 10 scale, with 10 being the highest? 10 all day.
All day. I've been told that. I've always been told that you always look at both sides. And sometimes my girlfriends get mad at me because they want me to be mad with them.
Right.
And I'm like, I see what you're saying, but what did you do? Like, I understand what you're saying, but
I understand why you're mad.
But you know, think about this other side for a minute. Put yourself in their shoes. Like, I've always been that kind of person.
Yes.
So,
and everybody needs that person on your side.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yes.
That's what I say.
What does judicial independence mean to you when the public is demanding a particular outcome for a high-profile case?
No, yeah, you can't do that. You have to do what the law says.
Yes.
The law has to apply consistently across the board. Otherwise, it's not the law, it's a suggestion. You know, you can't just make a decision you want because the public wants it.
Because public wants it.
Yeah, you can't do that.
So that makes you the bad guy again.
Yes, absolutely. But that's okay. That's what I signed up for. Because societal norms are going to change every day, and the law can't change. You have to have something you can rely on.
Yes.
So I think that you have to be that guy.
So now judicial races are elections, okay, but judges cannot behave like politicians.
Right.
How do you campaign for the position while assuring voters that once elected, you belong to nobody? You belong to no specific party, organization, donor, or interest?
I think that it's helped me. I've been able to show my independence because of who is supporting me.
Okay.
I have support from both sides of the aisle.
Okay.
A lot of the community, business community, I've been endorsed by the firefighters, the police union, the teachers, classroom teachers, the hotel lodging industry. Oh gosh, just a lot. I've been supported by both former Chief Justices, Fred Lawton and Kamilah Perry, the Mayor Dyer, Mayor Robinson, the city of St. Cloud. Like, they're very different mayors.
Yes.
So I think having support from a lot of different people will show that I don't have an allegiance to anybody or anything. I'm going to do the right thing no matter what.
Awesome. So what have you learned from involvement in this community that you would have never learned from the law book? Everybody say, they go to college and they learn so much. But what have you learned that has nothing to do with the law book?
That's a good question. I would say I have learned what impact the media has on people. and how it really could shape the perception of the public, and it can be dangerous if it's not right.
Right.
We have been a follower of a lot of media stories that have just been completely wrong, and it's so scary when people are like, "Oh no, I read that, and that's what it says," and I'm like, "I know that is what it said, but that's not right.
Right.
That's not right at all. And if you knew these other 5 pieces of facts, you would have a whole nother perspective of what the story is about." So I think that the media has opened my eyes, and I was a journalism major,
Okay.
so I grew up in having respect for the media, and knowing that the media's goal is to have integrity,
Right.
but also that they don't get it right all the time, and you really have to do your own research.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, what would you say to voters about doing their research on you? What would you tell them?
Please do your research on every candidate. It's all out there. Not a lot is hidden, especially in this day and age. Um, there are not just if if you Google my name, a lot of stuff will come up with my history, just because there's a lot out there, because I've been doing this a long time. But don't rely on people's opinions, because you never know their experience with that person and what it's based on. So I would take opinions, take it all in, but do your own independent research for sure.
And that's one of the things I think that happens every day, and it's sad because one person may not like this person or had an issue with them 10 years ago, and they want everybody else to jump on the bandwagon
because they don't want to see them succeed.
They don't want to see them right.
Yeah.
So what would you tell a person that in a quaint way, stop jumping on the bandwagon and follow your own gut?
Well, it depends, because I got a good bandwagon. So
Okay.
I don't want you to go that bad.
Tell them to get on your bandwagon.
Right. I have a lot of good people that think I'm credible.
Okay.
So I like that. So I think it depends. I think you can trust the people you respect.
Okay.
And the people you just don't know well enough, and you just don't know, then
trust them.
Yeah.
So there are 2 candidates on the ballot. Okay. And we're not talking negatively about anybody. What is the strongest argument for why you should receive the vote?
Probably my background is a little bit more diverse. I have practiced in every area of the law. There's not an area that I haven't touched on. I'm not an expert by far. No one is an expert. That's why they call it the practice of law. You literally are practicing every day. The law changes every day. But there's nothing that I'm not familiar enough with that I can go in on day one and sit down and listen to a case and say, okay, what are we doing here? Here's my ruling. That, and also my community service is very vast. I'm on the board of the Urban League. I'm on the board of the Wellsville Museum. I've been the past president of the Florida Bar chapter of the National Bar Association, president of the Georgia Edgecombe Bar Association.
Wow.
I've been on the boards of a million legal aid societies, like just a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And I think that gives me a diverse background. The people that I have met and know, that I've worked with, I think makes me stand out from my opponent.
From your opponent. What questions should voters be asking every judicial candidate that we're not asking enough of?
That's a good question. Because I say that because judges are not allowed to talk about a lot.
Right.
And we're not allowed to talk about our political beliefs or how we would rule, or we're not allowed to endorse anybody. We're not allowed to ask for money. Like, it's very hard to get to the root of judicial candidate, because all you can ask them about is their experience and their temperament.
Okay.
So,
and a lot of voters don't realize that. They say, like, why isn't she asking for money, or why isn't she doing this?
Yeah.
So for you all to know, they can't.
No.
You know,
cannot support any candidate, which is really painful for me, because I was the one that would be rah.
Yes.
For the best candidates, or I'll be giving out my slate. This is who you all need to vote for.
Right.
And you can't do anything.
So you have to stand back, even with the current elections, and not say anything.
Can't say anything.
Is that hard for you?
It is hard.
Okay.
It's ironic too, because you become a judge and you lose your First Amendment rights to free speech. It's hard, but hey.
So, is there any question that that you think should be answered that would help a voter say, okay, this makes sense. I think I'm ready to vote now?
You definitely want to know if your judge has the ability to let go of their ego. I can't emphasize that enough, because a judge that is too proud it does not care about you and your case. You need a judge that is selfless. Literally is not going to be able to sleep unless he knows that you're going to be okay, or that he's made the right decision. And I'm not sure what question you asked to find that out. I think you have to dig into their background and see what they've been involved in. Are they involved in community service work? Are they only involved in their own kind of, other projects just kind of for themselves?
Right.
Doesn't mean they'll be a bad judge, but it does help determine whether or not
Do you
they're
think it matters if you say, hey, what are your hobbies? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So what are your hobbies? And what do you enjoy doing in your spare time? Do you have spare time?
Right. I would say spare time. Right. Not really. I used to have spare time. I have a 6-year-old son at home, and this job is very demanding. Before that, I did a lot of. There wasn't a lot of time before that. It was a lot of. I was always volunteering for something, and I was a president of something. So all the stuff I did had to do with making sure my organization was running. Personal spare time, I probably did a lot of traveling. I like going to comedy shows. I like going to festivals and things like that. I would say that.
So after the election is done, what will be your one thing that you're gonna sit down and say, I'm gonna take a day or 2 hours and do this for me?
I'm taking my son to a water park.
Okay.
I cannot because I'm so hot out here. It is
so
hot.
That sounds fun for your son, but
no, I love water parks.
Okay,
yeah, I love water park. Yeah, I'm gonna cool off.
So now imagine you've served on the bench now for 6 years, and you're standing for re-election. What would you hope attorneys, courtroom staff, victims, defendants, families say about you?
That she knew what she was doing.
She knew what she was doing. She did the job.
She did it. She was fair. She was on time.
Okay.
She read all my briefs. She read my memos. And she listened to what I was saying, and she made a quick ruling, and she knew what she was doing.
Now
that's all you can ask for.
Now that is what I call a great beginning to a tailgate conversations with candidates right now. It's time to vote. If you have not already voted, then August 18th is the day to cast your vote.
Yes.
So if our viewers have not voted yet, what is that one thing that you would say to them to encourage them to not to get up off the couch? Because so many people say, "Why vote?" You know, they're gonna do what they want to do anyway.
It's not true.
So what's your plea to them to not only get up and go, but vote for you?
If our vote wasn't important, they wouldn't be trying so hard to take it away. It is crucial, and the numbers are there. We have enough registered voters to make a difference in any race. Either way, whatever side you're on, there's enough. So your voice does matter. There are elections in this circuit that have been won by 130 votes, and that is sad and very scary. And so I just would encourage you to please get out and vote. It really is about your future. I think the judicial race is more important than the president because we have more control over your everyday lives than the president of the United States. So I would please come out and vote. Don't skip the judicial races. Vote all the way down the ballot.
And you heard it right from here, from our next circuit judge. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for taking the time throughout this campaign to come and sit and talk with us. Y'all keep it rolling. Keep us locked in. Make sure you visit, what's your website?
www.KamilahPerryforJudge.com.
And is all the donations, it's too late to donate? We're done with donating?
Yeah, donations tomorrow's the last day.
Tomorrow's the last day. So if you haven't given, you know, do it right now. All right, y'all. We will see y'all in a couple of hours with our next candidate. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.